Hollywood elites are panicking after the crazy news that they just got today that is a telltale sign that Hollywood is getting absolutely decimated, that it is in a very, very bad place, and this is record-breaking bad news for Hollywood. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into this because this story is absolutely crazy and it shows just how completely out of touch Hollywood is when it comes to everything that is happening in the culture. So weekend box office crashes to 2023 low. This is very, very bad news for Hollywood, and it's going to be interesting to see how they react to all of this that is going on. As we know, the writer's strike has just lifted as well, so that is at least a little bit of good news for Hollywood, but it doesn't mean anything because we get news like this that shows that more and more people are tuning out of what Hollywood is offering because of just how much crap there is. So this is very, very bad for Hollywood. The weekend box office grossed just $48 million this weekend, which is pathetically horrible for Hollywood. That's the total box office. That's all the movies in every theater in North America. That means only around 6 million North Americans bothered to go to the movies this weekend. I mean, think about that. Think about just how small of a number that is. And this is the direction that Hollywood is continuing to go in as they continue to embrace all the woke nonsense. And this is the result of that. This is what happens, Hollywood, when you are going to continue to alienate your audiences. You are now suffering, and now you are having to deal with the consequences of everything that you have continued to push and everything that you are pushing in all the films that you have. So what was the problem? Well, who asked for a fourth chapter of the Expendables, which is the film that came out this past weekend? I mean, I haven't seen it yet. I highly doubt that most of you have seen the film as well. Most of us just don't care at this point. Why on earth are we getting a fourth Expendables? This just plays into the fact that Hollywood is continuing to just pump out remakes, reboots, all of that nonsense, which is something that we have no interest in at EpicVerse. We do not have an interest in pushing for adaptations, sequels, reboots, remakes, all of this type of stuff. We want to push out original content. We want you guys to have fresh new stories that you can enjoy. So all of that is having to play with the fact that Expendables came out this past weekend and that did terrible. Okay, this film was absolutely just got completely wrecked in the box office. And despite all of that, it continues to get even worse. Hollywood still has October, November, December. Looking over the schedule, the biggest box office hit might end up being Taylor Swift's concert movie, which is not a Hollywood product. That could end up being one of the biggest films that is going to be coming out for the rest of this year, which is absolutely hilarious. Normally, a Marvel movie would guarantee a big box office boom, but the Marvels looks like another 300 million woke bomb from the Disney grooming syndicate. Watching Disney collapse at the box office is at least one thing all decent people can look forward to, and something that we are seeing even in the stocks for Disney that continues to get worse and worse. Disney is in an absolutely terrible spot, and it's not just Disney, it's Hollywood as a whole. But hey, that's what Hollywood does now, milk these franchises until blood, marrow, and finally desiccated flesh hits the screens. Expendables was expected to open at a pretty low 16 million. It did around half of that on a $100 million budget. And yet we are seeing a very interesting thing happening with the films that are being released in Hollywood. We are seeing big films or films that weren't expected to be as big as they were, like Oppenheimer, which did exceptionally well in the box office. Things like Sound of Freedom, movies like that are resonating with people. People are going in droves to see these movies. Meanwhile, all of the garbage that Disney is particularly continues to push out is getting absolutely destroyed. And so it's interesting to see the contrast that is happening when it comes to movies that are being pushed into theaters. And I'm very, very excited to see what the reaction is going to be from you guys when you see EpicVerse, because EpicVerse is going to be a place where you'll have new stories and new characters and new things that you can sink your teeth into that is outside of the Hollywood box. That is something that's very important to us and something that we are going to be offering to all of you guys, which I'm very, very excited for.